Shocking. National City Boulevard is known around the country as part of a circuit. Prostitutes start off in Las Vegas, spend time here, then move north to LA. We got unprecedented access to the circuit to show you how underage girls are recruited.
They're younger. Like, I bump into the young ones out here and I'm like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? It's like they're so young.
This is the area locals call 32nd Street, where one of San Diego's dirty secrets is in plain sight. Sailors leave Naval Base San Diego, and underage prostitutes are here to greet them.
They got the underage girls and all that, so we don't roll their circuits. They go in groups. We go to Vegas at this time, you know what I mean, all that. So I was out since these girls have started. They're like 12, 13. That's about the time I started.
National City Police Officer Colleen Stanich says the pimps try to build a stable of underlings, and the experienced prostitute knows exactly what to say to a teenager.
Let's go to the mall, let's get your nails done, let's get your hair done. Next thing you know, she's in the life with her. And the whole time there was actually a pimp running that situation. The little girl just didn't know.
Once the underage girl is in, she's brought here to National City Boulevard. I'm on the circuit right now that runs from National City to San Diego. And the reason that this is part of the circuit is all of this Navy housing right across the street.
They'll literally walk straight through here to the military base and back.
The military's age of consent is 16. So if it's consensual on base, it's legal, according to U.S. military law.
They have regular clients, too, that are on base. I know these girls go on base.
Of course, that's mainly our clientele. Like, we can't wait for the ships to come in.
Most people in San Diego don't know this is happening. A dangerous game, as we learned when our interview with one of the working girls was interrupted.
There's a pimp trying to get a girl right now.
In a flash, we were part of the chase.
235, traffic 6th and B.
As Officer Stanich raced to catch the pimp driving a silver Thunderbird. Several units joined us, and every silver car got checked out, but the pimp got away. The Navy released a statement to me saying that sailors are trained about the consequences of prostitution every year.
So is the Navy doing anything about the road right in front of the base?
The Navy did give me a statement, and they say that they are trying to enact a curfew there from midnight to 4 a.m. every day to try to cut down on this problem. You can read the full statement from the Navy on 10news.com. But whether it's age of consent or what's going on or whether the circuit knows exactly where to go, all subjects to be continued.
12 to 16, amazing.
Unbelievable. Thanks, Kim.
Oh, thank you, Kim.
Every morning we sweep and there's condoms and beer bottles.
Ray Young says he's used to the shady activity outside this National City auto shop where he works.
We've got a porn shop 2 doors down from here. There are prostitutes here walking the streets.
But he says he never would have expected anything illegal happening next door at Pete's Cocktails on Main Street.
It never affected us, so, I don't know what goes on here during the night.
The Alcoholic Beverage Control, or ABC, ticketed 3 cocktail waitresses Friday for asking undercover agents to buy them drinks. And that's not all. ABC says waitresses charge some men more money in exchange for keeping them company.
And they seem like a fairly professional outfit.
I know that the owner would not allow it. If they were doing it, they were doing it on their own.
Right across the street from Pete's Cocktails is a Navy base.
If you stay around here for a while, you're going to see a lot of girls walking by because of Navy guys.
Dana Hurd says the owner of Pete's doesn't tolerate anything illegal, and he shoos away prostitutes who hang out near his doors.
Normally, they would stand right there and, wave at cars. But Mike said, you're going to have to get out of here because he just doesn't want that around his place.
ABC is considering whether to take disciplinary action against the bar. The owner could get fined or lose his license to serve alcohol. In National City, Matt Mendes, 10 News.
Go home, stop acting like I kidnapped her. She chose to live this life. The money come faster. And know what I gotta do? Turn her into a prostitute.
This San Diego rap singer illustrates a paradox. Boys join gangs to be tough men, but they're now building mini empires on the backs of girls, literally.
They don't work hard. They don't do anything other than coerce, manipulate, and threaten ultimately children.
FBI Special Agent Robert Howe says that reality leaves them far short of being real men.
A real man, first of all, would not target a child. A real man would have a good, honest, hardworking job that he could be proud of.
Instead, House
noticed an increase in the sex trafficking piece over the drugs. These criminal enterprise street gangs have realized the profit margins are so much bigger.
San Diego U.S. Attorney Laura Duffy explains why.
So you have a product now that you don't have to keep an inventory, you don't have to purchase it, you don't have to wait for the money to come back from this product and then buy it from a supplier. You are not as exposed as you are if you're caught with drugs, to being caught with a woman or to being caught with a girl. And it's something that they can sell and use over and over again without having to replenish their inventory.
Smartphones, social media, and websites like Backpage.com have turned two-bit drug gangs into entrepreneurs. They not only track competitors' tactics, but also keep tabs on police investigations. A federal indictment against 24 North Park gang members and associates unsealed this month revealed a powerful and sophisticated sex trafficking network across 46 cities and 23 states.
Some managed the prostitutes. They transported the prostitutes around to different locations for business. Some individuals rented rooms where prostitution took place. Some individuals were the ones who were responsible for placing ads to generate business for prostitution. Some individuals, forced and did some of the acts of violence and threats against the girls and the women.
60 girls were rescued, 11 were under 18. Each girl can earn anywhere between $500 to $10,000 a night, depending on whether she's working the streets or an event. Not a penny goes into the girls' pockets. Since gangs don't file taxes, federal officials are reluctant to put a number on how much a pimp can earn annually from trafficking. But flashy cars and clothes found during federal searches paint a lavish lifestyle. Investigators found thousands in cash, luxury cars, and bejeweled pimp cups and pimp sticks among North Park gang members' belongings, according to the federal indictment. Meanwhile, federal officials say gang members beat and torture the girls to keep them in line. Duffy says the North Park case was no less savage.
They gifted these women, they traded these women, they sold these women amongst each other. They marked these women like property, they tattooed them, they even barcoded.
One by one, men pull up to the curb. Once the John and Decoy agree to a price, the Johns have to drive to a meeting spot, showing their intent to break the law. With conveyor belt-like efficiency, offenders are processed upstairs in a hotel room, quickly booked to make room for the next catch. On a night like this, anywhere from 20 to 40 Johns, pimps, and prostitutes will be taken to the county jail after going through that very quick booking process. The second location is even busier. We're in Compton, where the decoys were alongside actual working women. Deputies spot 3 women walking in a group. They tell us the pimp is likely just a few yards away at all times. The undercover deputies are everywhere, not only pretending to be prostitutes, but also Johns. An undercover John got one of the women to take the bait. It's only a matter of time before all 3 women from the group are in custody, and 2 of their pimps are in a patrol car. But authorities are not going after the women. They're going after the pimps and the Johns. Prostitution is illegal in the state of California and is a misdemeanor charge. So if prostitutes don't cooperate with authorities, they'll be ticketed. But if they can prove they were human trafficked through the use of force, fraud, or coercion, authorities will help them, but only if they want it.
Sometimes it takes multiple arrests, sometimes only a couple. It's really hard to break through the fear because of the mental anguish that they go through with the trafficker. They go through psychological abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and that's why it takes time. It's just building that trust with them and letting them know that you can trust me, I will fight for you, I will help you, put your trafficker away.
The Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking, also known as CAST, is a service that's co-located with the task force to rescue girls on site.
When we come out here working with law enforcement, we make sure to let them know that there's a safe place for them to sleep tonight.
Over the course of 3 days, 339 criminal arrests were made across the state.
Take down, we're good to go.
Nearly 50 victims were rescued, more than a dozen of them children. One operation won't destroy this cruel industry, but the progress gives hope to those on the front line.
Men were arrested in San Diego County during a 3-day operation targeting sex buyers.
We see guys that make minimum wage all the way to guys that make $150,000 plus a year in some sort of engineering program. We see guys that have college educations, that have advanced educations. We have seen doctors, we've seen law enforcement guys, we've seen all sorts of array of people that have been involved in this.
Operation Reclaim and Rebuild focused on the demand side of human trafficking through fake ads posted online offering sex for money. When the men showed up, they were met by undercover police officers and charged with agreeing to engage in an act of prostitution.
They're processed and they're asked a series of questions, and a number of those questions have to do with the suspect's knowledge of what human trafficking is, and are they aware that many of our victims are not choosing this lifestyle.
So a lot of times the Johns are as violent or more violent than the actual traffickers or pimps that have put them out there in this situation. Because you have the idea that these Johns feel as there's no consequence for their actions, the fact that these Johns can do whatever they want to these women and not be held accountable for it, because they're never going to call law enforcement for any help.
Operation Reclaim and Rebuild is a wake-up call to people who buy human beings for sex. The men that were arrested come from all sorts of ages and backgrounds. And this tells us that a message needs to be sent and awareness needs to be brought about for the men to understand that the people that they are buying for sex are very likely victims who were brought into sex trafficking as children.
In a first-of-its-kind report looking at the economics of the sex trade, including just how lucrative that local industry is. Team 10 investigator Michael Chen reveals the one crime linked to San Diego's prostitution scene that sets the city apart and how it could impact our safety.
We can't wait for the ships to come in.
From prostitutes near a naval base
Down on the ground.
and a pimp on the ground to a John caught in a sting.
Put your hands on the wall.
Team 10 in recent years has gotten an inside look at the local sex trade. Now we're learning more about how much that trade is worth. A study commissioned by the Justice Department included interviews with law enforcement, prostitutes, pimps, and others from 8 major cities. The annual sex trade in San Diego is estimated at $97 million. Pimps in San Diego gross more than $11,000 every week, far below the nearly $33,000 a week for pimps in Atlanta, but above the $5,000 for Kansas City pimps.
Pimps get it all. They get it all.
Former prostitute Kathy Hardy, who now runs the program Freedom from Exploitation, says prostitutes are fed and clothed but don't see much money. High-end escorts who get paid for sex do see more money, according to the study. Upwards of $10,000 a week for 5 to 6 days before they give their bosses their cut. Hardy points out they, like other prostitutes,
I've met people that had their entire side of their head kicked in with a steel-toed boot.
are routinely abused by their bosses and clients. Another finding from the report, almost all of the minors involved with prostitution are walking the streets in San Diego. The report also deemed San Diego's sex trade the most closely linked to gangs. Some 80% of arrested pimps have gang ties.
You can sell a gun and it's sold, but you can sell a human being over and over again, and it is so much more lucrative.
A reality revealed with the eye-opening economics of the sex trade. Michael Chen, Team 10.
Solving the human trafficking epidemic, which is what it is a priority for my administration. I'm going to help out a lot.
In 2010, Obama had 300 human trafficking arrests. That's a stark contrast compared to 2017, Trump's first year, where he had 6,355. So far, Trump's numbers have exceeded. Trump's goal has been to end sex trafficking, particularly child sex trafficking, and he's been doing just that.